So example 1 then has the directions simplify. And our first problem is going to be y to the 19th times y to the 8th. Now, as you look at these, the first thing you have to do is think about how these two pieces are connected. They're connected by multiplication. And because the y to the 19th and the y to the 8th are connected by multiplication, this is going to be an example of the product rule we were looking at a moment ago. Now, if you need to, you can go ahead and look back at the handout that we just filled in. So what does the product rule tell us? If you have x to a power times x to a power, we can add the exponents. Well, it works if you have y's as well. So we have y to a power times y to a power. So that means we're going to have y, and now we're going to add the exponents to the 19 plus 8 power. 19 plus 8 is going to be 27. So that means then that our final answer is going to be y to the 27th power. Well, let's try another one. For part B, let's say that we have y to the 3rd times y. Now, I chose to write this differently than I did in part A. In part A, I put both of my factors inside of some parentheses. But we've seen that multiplication doesn't have to have parentheses. So again, you have to look at this and realize it is a product. And then the other thing that you have to realize is that both of these y's have a power. Now, the first one has the power that's written. The second one, though, does not have a written power. So you have to think back to things that we've talked about previously, and remember that if you have y sitting there with no written power, that means that the power was in fact 1. So this is y to the 3rd times y to the 1st. And once again, it's the product rule because these two pieces are connected by multiplication. And the product rule says that if you have y to a power times y to a power, you can add those exponents. So 3 plus 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. So we end up getting y to the 4th power as our answer. Now, let's try something where we have a number instead. So for part C, let's go ahead and say 3 to the 3rd times 3 to the 2nd. Well, we can do the same thing that we were doing just a moment ago because once again, this is an example of the product rule. We have 3 to the 3rd times 3 to the 2nd. So, same base in both places, different exponents. We can go ahead and say by the product rule that this is going to be the base of 3 to the 3 plus 2 power. 3 plus 2 is 5. So this is 3 to the 5th power. Now, unlike the previous two problems, part A and B, when we had y to the 27th power, we really couldn't do anything with that. Y to the 4th, there wasn't anything else we could do with that. But 3 to the 5th, we can actually do some simplification with that. We can find a number that's equivalent to that. So anytime you have a number to a power, you want to get into the habit of actually finding what that ends up being. So you can go to your calculator and you can type in 3 and multiply times itself 5 times, or you can use your exponent button on your calculator and say that you have 3 and then to the 5th power. Either way, you're going to find that this is the number 243. So that would be your final answer for a problem like that. 3 to the 3rd times 3 to the 2nd is the number 243.